As you know, there's been an awful lot of concern about endangered species and this and that going extinct. But one thing people aren't talking about too much is that one of the most endangered species on Earth right now has got to be the human heart. And I want to talk about that a little bit. There's been a couple of decades that I've been able to watch. You see these gray hairs that show me that human relationships have gone down and down since the 70s, 80s. There's been a continuous downslide in the ability of human beings to relate favorably to one another, at least in our culture. Divorce rates have gone up, but more than that, an insidious alienation has taken place, in which we finally have come to new strategies for relating that include virtual relationships, that include all kinds of web friendships and so forth, that are actually very minor and quite estranged. There is not that much closeness in these things. There is not that much reality in these things. As you begin to watch text messaging and these kinds of technologies, you begin to see, yep, for sure, relationship ain't what it used to be. And what we're really seeing, in part, as part of this process of extinction, as we see it in all the other species, is actually a problem called the loss of habitat. What is the habitat of the human heart? The habitat of the human heart is close intimacy. It is people being with other people who care. Now, the loss of habitat has been created by the fact that people have gotten scared of relationship. We have all learned that it's important to keep your own space. It's important to watch out for all the kinds of problems that dysfunctional people suffer in relationships, right? Abandonment, betrayal, right? Loneliness, abuses of different kinds. All the disappointments have been duly noted, and great stress has been put on the importance of avoiding these kinds of problems. But what has the effect been of all this? Alienation, estrangement, running and hiding, putting too many walls up for close relationships to really exist. Now that, friends, has created a serious degradation in habitat for the human heart. Every one of us as human beings needs close relationships to be happy. We need to be loved in person, and we need to love in person. Emails are not enough. Blogs are not enough. Debates are certainly not enough on chat rooms and so forth, chat boards, right? This is not enough to satisfy the human heart and the human soul, which needs a high quality exchange of a lot of love to feel that it is home, that it is at home, that it is in its proper, nutritious, warm habitat. You cannot effectively let the human heart exist in estranged spaces, alienated spaces, and thrive there, and expect it to thrive. It will not thrive. It is not thriving. So when you talk to people about relationship and you see that they are running and hiding, when you see them become afraid at the mention of the idea of living together, of commitment, of all these things, okay, that have something to do with the necessary requirements for the creation of an effective habitat for humanity, you must think, what is going to happen to the human heart if the natural habitat of humanity is destroyed? So I am saying, Consider the possibility that human relationships, close relationships, and the habitat that makes those things possible, that supports close relationships, consider the possibility that that habitat should be restored, should be protected if it exists anywhere, should be cared for. There should be a husbanding of the natural resource of the proper habitat for humanity, for human beings to thrive in. The context of close relationships, the context of love, the context of close intimacies, these things need to be restored. Now, granted, we're too scared in many cases, okay, to enter into close relationships or to venture into the kind of habitat that our hearts need. If only what? If only we could actually function decently, effectively in relationship, instead of hurting each other as a result of fear, instead of lashing out to protect ourselves because we're afraid, instead of doing all the kinds of things that scared and insecure people do that have made relationships an endangered species. We need to develop in ourselves some kind of trust. We need to build experiences of relationship that are positive ones by loving each other, by caring for one another, by showing tolerance and forgiveness to one another. Right? We need to have this experience. We need to do this because we, as human hearts, we need that experience, and we need the habitat to thrive in that is natural to our hearts and our souls.